if you're wondering how much life insurance you need, we're going to talk about that in this video. And while it isn't a black and white answer in this video, I'm going to give you some specific ways that you can tell and figure out how much you need. I posted something to Facebook about life insurance, and I got this comment from a reader that is just kind of stuck with me. You know, because I think the truth is that most of us haven't experienced something like this, but this is real life and unexpected stuff happens, and it would be wise of us to be ready for the unexpected. Now, I do need to add that I'm not a life insurance agent. I'm an enthusiast. I'm someone who's interested in this stuff, so definitely consult a professional if you feel uncomfortable making any decisions, and just view this content as educational. And with all that out of the way, let's get to it. So the first and easiest way probably to tell how much life insurance you need is to actually use a calculator. And typically a calculator like this is going to ask you a number of specific questions about your financial situation to help you determine, how much you actually need, because this isn't a one-size-fits-all answer. And the calculator that I use for this is over at PolicyGenius. And I went ahead and ran a sample scenario using this calculator so you can kind of get a feel for how this calculator works. Now, we are affiliate partners with PolicyGenius, so if you do decide to use this, we'd appreciate if you use our link because it'll help support the channel, support our mission of what we're trying to do. And we'll have all those links up above or down below in the description as well. And so to get to this calculator, all you need to do is just click on this page here, and I will have a link up above so you can get over there, and then they have a big button to calculate coverage. You can just click on that, and then it will get you started going through this process. So that is probably the easiest and quickest way to get the most accurate estimate for how much life insurance you need. Now, there are two other fairly popular methods for kind of determining how much life insurance you need, and so we'll go ahead and cover those now. And one of them is called the 10x rule. And basically the gist of this is that you take your annual salary and you multiply it by 10. And that's the amount of coverage that you need. So if you make $50,000 a year, then you would want to get $500,000 of coverage. And I view this more as a general rule of thumb, maybe like a more of a ballpark number to consider, because everybody's financial situation is so much different. If you're, in your mid 30s and you have 5 kids and you have a wife who stays at home and you don't have much savings, like that's going to look a whole lot different than if you're empty nesters, and you have a big retirement savings and all your debt paid off. Like those are two very different scenarios. And while a rule of thumb like this can give you a ballpark to kind of consider and get started, you probably should dive a little bit deeper to get something a little bit more accurate for your specific situation. And that leads us to another popular method of determining how much life insurance you need, and that is the DIME formula. And in the case of this formula, DIME stands for debt, income, mortgage, and education. And these are the 4 factors to consider when determining how much life insurance you need. And basically this would work like this. You would take all the debts that you have, exclude your mortgage, but just focus on all your other debts and total them up. And next you would go look at your income, and you would figure out what your annual income is, and hopefully you know that. And then you would multiply that by the number of years that you think your family would need support without you being there. And then after that, you would look at the mortgage and you would figure out how much mortgage debt you have, and then you would take that number. And then finally, for the education component, you would add up all of the estimated education expenses for all of your kids. And now you would take all 4 of those numbers and add them up for one grand total, and that is the amount of coverage that you need. And as you might be thinking, even with a formula like that, there's definitely some gray area, and there's some things that just aren't really clear. And so that's the thing. It's like it's just an estimate. But the bottom line is that it's a whole lot better to have some life insurance than to have no life insurance. So even if you're under-insured a little bit, it's just far better than not having any insurance at all. All right, so last week I got a question from a reader asking this. I'd like to get your take on someone who doesn't have a lot of debt and a nice sum saved for retirement in the need for life insurance. So the question is basically this: do you need life insurance if you're debt-free and if you have a big retirement savings? And I told her that that's actually our situation pretty much as well. And so we have all of our debts paid off and we have a decent amount saved for retirement, but I have 2 kids and a third on the way, and I have a wife who stays at home with them. And so I think it makes a good amount of sense for me to have insurance to kind of cover my family. Now, even if I wasn't the breadwinner in the family, there are still things to consider like funeral expenses, because you would hate to have to pull money out of your 401k or borrow equity from the house to cover the funeral expenses. And especially with life insurance, particularly term insurance being so cheap that it makes sense to get it if you can. And so the next question that you probably have is what I had the first time I did this, and that is, how do I get the cheapest policy? I don't want to pay too much for it. I want to get the cheapest policy that's going to get the job done. And the answer is that you need to shop around. You need to look at different insurance carriers because they're all different, and depending on your actual situation, you're going to find a different rate. And this is why PolicyGenius has been my go-to recommendation after all these years of looking at all these different insurance sites, because they do this so well. They let you compare quotes from from dozens of insurance companies all on one page, and then they take care of all the paperwork for you as well. And then on top of that, they have non-commissioned agents who will answer your questions. These guys are doing it right, and they really make it as simple as it possibly can be. So like I said before, we are affiliate partners with them, so you can support us by using the links in the description or up above, down below, to get over to their website. And just in case you think that I'm recommending them just because we're affiliate partners, the truth is that we could be affiliate partners with any of the life insurance companies out there. And this is actually the one from my years and years of doing this that I actually like, that I actually use. And that's why we've chosen to be affiliate partners with them. And as a little bit more incentive for you, if you decide to get life insurance and kind of go through our link to get to PolicyGenius to do it, I would be happy to send you a copy of our book completely for free. So if that interests you, we'll have instructions down in the description below so we can get you all hooked up. And if you're new to our channel, welcome. So glad you're here. And what we do here is we talk about practical ways to kind of put more money in your pocket and to be wise with money. But then we also talk about some of the timeless biblical principles and how to manage our money wisely. And so if that's something that resonates with you, you can consider subscribing so you can hear from us as we create more, hopefully awesome content that you will enjoy. All right, that is all for today. And I will leave you with one last thought. Regardless of how you do it, just make sure your family is insured. Make sure that you have life insurance coverage, just in case you happen to meet Jesus a little bit before you expect. We want them taken care of. So that's all for today. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.